Okay, good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is Brian Calnan. I'm on the board of directors of North Star, and I want to welcome everyone and thank you all for coming today. Thankfully, it's not raining, but it is probably going to be raining sweat soon if we don't get started. So that's what we're doing now. And I also want to thank especially John Hogue and his team at North Star. The work that they put in, this is probably taking us 7 years, give or take, from planning to today, and they haven't stopped working at all, and it's been amazing, and this is the finished product, and I just want to welcome everyone. Thank you all for coming, and now I'm going to hand it over to John and Shauna.
What are you guys all doing here? No, this is a very exciting day for this area, for me personally. We've been working on it hard as an agency. And we had to raise a lot of money to make this happen. It didn't happen overnight, and we had to ask a million people to help support. And we got funding from so many different sources, it would take me a half hour to talk about them all. But one of the major sources of funding was our capital campaign. Basically, for us to get support from the state, which we needed support and funding from the state, we needed to show local support, local skin in the game. So we had a challenge. We were challenged that we needed to come up with a certain amount of money to make this project fly. And not only did we meet the state's expectation, but we surpassed it. And how we did that is our capital campaign. So we had a capital campaign, small group of people that worked tirelessly to come up, and we raised $2 million in this area. So that's a huge accomplishment. All right, so the chair of our capital campaign was Marty Connors. Some people might know him. He's the CEO of Roll Stone Bank, and I'd like him to come up to the podium if he would. This kit here. Yep. So we also had a co-chair, Marty's very supportive wife, Kit, who was very helpful in getting some of the last dollars that we needed to finish this project. She was very supportive. So Kit, would you come up also? We had a couple other people that were part of the capital campaign. Bob Antonucci, former president of Fitchburg State. He couldn't make it today, but he was part of this also. So he wished us well. And then Phil Grzinski used to be the CEO of United Way and the Community Foundation for many years, and he wasn't able to make it too, but he was also a big help in this. So I want to say thank you to all of you for what you did, and I appreciate it. And helping families. We have a small token of appreciation because they worked tirelessly to make this happen. So thank you.
All right. Thank you all very much. And now we're going to the ribbon cutting.
2, 3. Nice.
All right, now we got the photo op, so we just have a few more thank yous. All right, for our next part here, we have a lot of thank yous. A project like this does not happen with the efforts of many, many, many hands. And we have some people we want to thank you. And Eileen O'Leary has been on the board of directors since the inception of North Star and even when it was Interfaith. And she's going to start out with some words, and then we're going to do some thank yous. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I'm going to keep it short. But the most important reason that I say thank you in this manner is because if I forget someone, I feel horrible. And it's every single person in this crowd that's got us to build this building today. So anyway, today is a new future. It awaits for our families and generations of children to come. We have completed this project only through the incredible generosity of all our donors, leaders, affordable housing for so many. It's just so hard. Our workers, everyone who came together to make this work. If we hadn't all cooperated together, we would have never got it done. I know at times it was difficult going to zoning board meetings and perhaps going to see those donors one-on-one, but that generosity that you shared has built this future. So we have not only just built a building, you have provided homes. Homes for families that have been struggling for years, sometimes generations, to find one. So every time you pass the end of the road, you may not drive down here, but for the next, let's say 50 years or better, hopefully better, this will be here. And it'll always be open to those in need. So thank you beyond thank yous for your generosity, for each dollar, for each nail, for each commitment. At this time, we'd also like to recognize some of our officials. First, our North Star Board of Directors, everyone for the last 7 years who's been on our committees, our subcommittees, our planning, our fundraising. Thank you beyond thank yous. To our incredible staff, because without this staff, with Tabitha and John and everyone else, who would have thought this ever would have happened? This is not an 8 to 4 job. This is a job that requires you to be working 24 hours a day when that call comes in. Or when you're thinking at night, what do I have to do tomorrow? How can I get somebody housed? So it's an incredible thank you. And we cannot forget all the elected officials that helped us, because we did have to jump the hoops, and sometimes go around the hoops and then come back and jump again, which John was very good at. So we have Congressman Jim McGovern, who might not be able to be with us today, but he was fabulous in trying to help get us federal funding and succeeded. We have Senator John Cronin, who also helped get us funding. Representative Natalie Higgins, who not only has helped us get funding in so many ways, but has always been a supporter of the organization and comes to visit on a regular basis. We're blessed with that. For our wonderful mayor, Mayor Dean Mazzarella of Leominster, who I'm sure has lots of plans for us to do other things to help families in need, because he's a man who cares and gives about his community. For our brand new mayor, and now perhaps at least you completed your first year, and I apologize for probably killing her name, but Mayor Samantha Squatty. And I hear you went to school with actually my oldest son, so I really feel bad that I haven't got it down yet. But all those officials coming together. And Brian's going to help with just a few others.
Thank you, Eileen. Okay, so we'd like to, from the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, would like to thank Ed Augustus, Jennifer Maddox, Kate Racer, and Camille Perry. From Mass Housing, Crystal Cornegay. From CDAC, we'd like to thank Roger Herzog and Sarah McKeever. From our construction planning team, we have Stone Soup Collaborative, Maura Kamasi Sangas, Doobie Construction, Tom Doobie, Nicole LaCroix, and Ethan LaFosse. Davis Square Architects, Cliff Bomer, Laura Salamoat, and Audrey Parrell. From Hancock Associates, Joseph Pesnola and Brian Goudreau. Kurt James from Kurt James LLP, and John Smolak and Stephanie Kiefer from Smolak and Vaughn. So again, thank you to everyone. This is a community and a group effort. Honestly, looking at some of the names, a statewide effort, and we appreciate everything. And now we're actually going to call up Maura to talk to us a little bit. So thank you all.
Good morning. So congratulations to everyone on this great accomplishment. We are surrounded by people who actually know how difficult it is to build affordable housing. North Star, you and your board should be very proud of this accomplishment, both for North Star as an agency and for Leominster as a whole. My little consulting business, I started a business 7 years ago, next week, and this is one of the first groups that took a chance on me when I went out on my own as a consultant. Yet I also took a chance on North Star, and I'm glad that I did. They were a scrappy nonprofit with a whole lot of heart and grit, but not a lot of housing experience. However, they had, and maybe still have, a healthy dose of, I'm not taking no for an answer. John and Tabitha took on something was perhaps out of their league, but they asked lots of questions and mostly trusted the answers. And here we all are, almost 7 years later, opening housing for some of the most vulnerable families in the region. I have told John that I think Tabitha should get the Most Improved Player Award, and as she has grown considerably in her role in affordable housing accounting. I've really enjoyed the construction meetings for this project. I don't usually say that for most of the projects that I work on. There's a collaborative spirit within the team, with DSA, the architect, listening to questions and offering suggestions, DCM, Tom, Nicole, and Ethan figuring out ways of making things better and more sustainable for the long term. Brimkiss, John and Mike, the owner's project manager, highlighting questions and concerns and helping to keep things moving forward. Our sustainability consultant, Airtight, has been with the project from the beginning and has helped craft a sustainable project along with Hancock Engineers. We also appreciate the partnership of Joy Squared and our state and local funders. Developing affordable housing is hard, especially right now, but it is so important. Housing like this, permanent supportive housing, affords families the support that they need to maintain their tenancy, break negative cycles, and live healthy lives. It is all of our responsibility to help protect the funding that supports programs like this and to continue to support scrappy organizations with the best intentions to provide much needed housing in their communities.
Thank you, Maura. Now I'd like to call up Dr. Castile, Commissioner for Health and Human Services for the City of Worcester.
I'm also wondering why Worcester is here, but I had the pleasure of meeting John during COVID, and it's impressive. It's one of the things that we work very hard in Worcester to try to do. So thank you for giving me a chance to speak with you today, because this issue, whether we talk about it enough or not, touches us all. Homelessness, whether it's individual or family homelessness, is one of the most visible and painful reminders that something in our society is not working. We've all seen it. People, families sleeping in doorways, living in their cars, or struggling to find even a moment of safety or rest. It's easy to walk by, it's easy to look away, but behind every face is a story, often a history of trauma, illness, job loss, family breakdown, and those stories are unfolding every single day in every one of our communities. And here's what we cannot ignore any longer, that the crisis is growing quietly, urgently, all around us. But here's the thing, we know what works. We know that permanent supportive housing overall, it's a proven solution. It's compassionate, it's cost effective. This model of connects housing with the kind of support for services people actually need. Mental health care, job training, healthcare access, and most importantly, our next generations of kids who will grow up with supports in this community. It's not just about giving someone a roof, it's about giving them a foundation, a place to rest, a chance to breathe, and the stability they need to begin healing. So why is this so important? Because housing is not a privilege. It is a human right. No one in one of the wealthiest nations on earth should be sleeping on the street, and in particular, families. And beyond the moral argument, there's a practical one. Supportive housing, permanent supportive housing saves money. When we move people, families out of the streets and into stable housing, we see fewer emergency room visits, fewer police calls, fewer stays in hospital beds. These aren't just numbers, they're lives that are turning around. People rejoining the workforce, reconnecting with families, enrolling in schools, finding purposes again and again, our next generation to be able to succeed. And the data backs it up. Cities that invest in permanent supportive housing, thousands of dollars per person per year, that's not just good policy, it's smart economics. And it works. Over 90% of people placed in supportive housing stay housed at least for 1 year. In public policy, success rates are like that are rare, and we should be shouting from the rooftops of how great this is. Let me bring it closer to home. 4 years ago, during the height of COVID, I had a knock on my door, and it was John Hogue and the staff from North Star Family Services. They told me about a project they were developing, 15 supportive housing units in Worcester County, and they needed more funding. I was incredibly touched by all of this, and I gave my suggestions of where to try and get funding. I was immediately excited because in my experience working in Worcester, I'd seen too many surrounding towns from all over Massachusetts sending their homeless residents and individuals into the city, often with no plan, no follow-up, and no resources. Homelessness doesn't stop at city borders. It exists in every town, and while we work to take care of everyone who's in our city, it's neither fair nor effective that one city to carry the burden of an entire region. Worcester's shelters for both family and individuals are full. Our outreach teams are stretched thin. The wait list for affordable housing is years long. Shifting people to us doesn't solve the problem. It just relocates it and sometimes makes it worse. It is why I'm incredibly thankful to this project and the work that John and his team have done over the last 7 years to say, this is my community and I'm going to help my constituents who are going through hard times, and as a community, we should be able to solve our problems. This type of project in your city keeps people connected to places they know, schools, doctors, faith communities, friends, and communities spend less on crisis care and emergency services. It also preserves dignity, stability, and hope. And most importantly, it's the right thing to do. Housing isn't a luxury, it's a human need. And any community that values fairness, as this community does, must take care of the most vulnerable, and the state needs to support these types of programs. So today, I'm calling for regional planning, state level funding, incentives, shared funding, because homelessness isn't one city's problem, it's a Massachusetts problem, and solving it would take all of us. I am grateful to your efforts and will continue to work to advocate for your community. Let's rise together to that challenge together. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Castillo. Now we have Pamela Barty, housing developer.
Well, this wind is powerful. Good morning, everybody. How are you? We feeling good? Isn't this amazing? First off, big round of applause to you guys for this. This is unbelievable. John, you're one of the most impressive people I've ever met. I have to tell you. Because it really, a vision begins with a thought, right? And that thought, when you turn it into action, creates this. And his relentless drive made this happen. I'll never forget the first time that I actually met John. I sat down and I was like, this is the most amazing shelter I've ever seen. He's like, you haven't even seen what we're building down the street. This is amazing. But that pure heart, that pure intention, it really starts with a thought, with a vision, and then the right team to execute. And that's exactly what John put together. As mentioned, I'm a real estate developer. I've been a real estate developer for about 11 years in the Boston area. And honestly, we all know the housing crisis is a huge, huge ordeal. But there's incredible humans like John and like North Star that are making incredible things happen. So stick to those humans, stick to those people with the big visions that are going to create something magical like this. I was reading up on some stats and I was really taken aback because we all know the housing crisis is pretty bad. But on any given night, did you know that about 580,000 Americans face homelessness on any given night? And that a recent study was done that roughly, well, actually in any city in America, a full-time minimum wage worker cannot afford a 2-bedroom rental. Now, what happens when someone is stuck in one place? We go into survival mode and there is no room for growth, right? Financial struggles create so much pressure on us, right? And so seeing an opportunity and a beautiful development like this, where it gives people the opportunity to have a leg up, is everything. these are the kinds of projects that it warms my soul to see, because navigating the affordable housing, just even the credits, even just dealing with all of that is like its own world. And here it is making it happen because of the tenacity of Dr. John and this incredible team. We're just so, so grateful. And again, don't be afraid to dream big. That's one of the things that John taught me. Whenever I met with him, I was like, just thinking about it, I literally had to process for like 3 days after I met him, because I was like, he's just so tenacious and just gets it done, right? And one of the things is, don't be afraid to dream too big. Because you know how many people told him that this wasn't possible? That he was just far out of reach? That this wasn't going to happen? But here we are. So I want to take my hats off to you. Don't be afraid to dream big. No goal is ever too impossible. When you got the right team, you've got it. We're so honored to be here today with you, my friend. God bless you always and this organization. And I pray to see hundreds and hundreds more. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela. And now we have Mayor Dean Mazzarella of Leominster to say a few words. You can clap for him.
My mother said it was okay. You don't have to clap. Good morning. And isn't this amazing? I mean, I came around the corner. I was here when we did the walkthrough. It was like 40 below. We did the walkthrough. John was all bundled up. He had a hat and gloves on. I showed up in my dancing shoes here. When I saw John the first thing this morning, I said, John, are you feeling a little stressed? And he looks at me and says, well, I wasn't until you got here. And everybody knows at City Hall, there is no permitting process. I don't care what anybody says. It's just whatever John wants, just, so it usually starts with one of our staff members coming in and while I'm in the middle of something saying, John wants this. And I'm like, what? And they're like, John wants to waive all the fees on the project. I'm like, just tell John whatever he needs. Just, I don't care what it is. John says we got to pave the street. Pave the street. Just, because he's relentless. He just doesn't give up. 3 weeks ago, I get an email and it says, Mayor, we got to talk about the next project. And I'm like, the next project? What are you talking about? You're like, oh yeah, we got to get going. I'm like, just tell John whatever he needs. We'll sign him up. Yeah, I was coming around the corner this morning, and I got to say, Ron Anson, although he passed away in the last year, Kim's here. You hear Kim somewhere? Raise your hand if you're here. Kim, Ron would be thrilled coming around the corner today and seeing this, because he never, I mean, every conversation would start with, what are you doing about providing affordable housing for families? And because Ron knows the families in manufacturing, you can't manufacture unless you have people. People have families. He understood it. And there are many mysteries that surround Ron Anson, because Ron Anson never wanted anybody to know what he did. It really wasn't done. It really wasn't what it was about. Ron Anson wasn't, hey, look at me, this is what I did. He did it because it came from the heart. He didn't care if anybody knew he did it. And when AIDS was really a big thing and not a lot of people understood it, Ron called me and said, I need you to help me. And I'm like, okay, what do you need? And he set up a program where people who are very sick and dying from AIDS, where in the metropolitan area, this was a test that he ended up expanding, that someone would go around every day like Meals on Wheels and bring food to every single person. Can you imagine that? The metropolitan area, every single patient that was home and homebound got food, 3 meals a day. And he was insistent upon that. He just wanted our help. And, well, okay, how do we do this? You see, there is no one person that can pull this off. We have a team leader and team leaders, and Marty and Kit that took the helm with Bob Antonucci, but you're all here because you did something for this project, and I hope you know that. And the power, this is an example of the power that you have, but not one of us can do it alone. So as John starts to advocate for the next project, know that you're needed, but this is really something good, and I hope you're proud of the fact that we're here today. And imagine being a kid and you don't know where you're putting your head down at night. I can't. I keep thinking and thinking, but I can't. There are kids that don't know where they're putting their head down. And last, I want to advocate, we have a project coming up in the city and they can sell condos, first-time home buyers for $279,000. We can reduce that cost by $45,000 if we can get rid of some of the regulations that are not needed in the state anymore. They're just not. They're stopping people from building affordable housing. Bob Dole, I was part of a small group, Bob Dole was the speaker, and he wrote a book, and it's called The Death of Common Sense. And the first story, I ran right to the bookstore to get it, and the first story is about Mother Teresa. And she buys a building in New York City for the homeless. Well, the inspectors show up and said, what are you going to do? And she said, I want to put people inside. She said, well, you need a heating system. She said, okay, we'll get a heating system. Next group shows up and says, you need a fire suppression system. And it just continued on. She said, they were sleeping in the street last night. You get it? You get it? We've got all these regulations tying things up. When we can build real affordable housing, there are people ready to do that, but not at $300 a square foot. They just can't do it. And so anyway, thank you for your help. Thanks for listening. I do have my dancing shoes on, but John, let's start that next project, right? All right.
Thank you, Mayor Mazzarella. And last person we have to speak is Dr. John Hogue, but before he comes up, I want everyone to understand the work that this man puts in. He's tireless. You've heard all the speakers say he just doesn't stop. And we wouldn't be here today without John. So thank you again.
I didn't build much of a speech because I knew other people were going to be carrying the weight and doing some speeches. And I know everyone is eager to go into the building and check it out because it's pretty impressive. But I just want to thank everyone that has helped with this, with funding, with zoning, with everything, the city hall, even neighboring cities have been a support of this project because we're all one people, right? We're all families of families of families. And that's what this is about. And that's what drives me, is to do the right thing for families. Not that I knew how to do it, but I figured it out. So thank you for your help heading down that road. It's been a long road, as you all know. We've said it several times, 7 or 8 years. When we hit roadblocks, we just figure it out, how to go around it or over it or through it. So thank you all. I appreciate you all coming and supporting. And we're going to have folks walk around in the building. There's not going to be guided tours. Just walk around and be impressed with what the architects did, what the civil engineers did. They all did a great amount of work on a daily basis to get this done. Folks that were here during the groundbreaking, that was in April of last year. That's how long we've been doing the construction. So it's been a daily basis. So thank you all. I appreciate you coming. As you've heard, many people say, it takes a big team, big community to get things done. I couldn't do what I've done without a special person, somebody that works with us, that's been with us for 12 years. Tabitha, will you come up? So this person has done every imaginable job that you can imagine, at working in a shelter, trying to build housing, with accounting. You heard, some folks talking about the growth. The growth is because we needed her to do it and to learn. And I was learning along the way with her. But one of the things is she's determined. She doesn't give up. Similar to what people were saying about me. We figure it out. There's got to be an answer. And she works really hard. So we'd like to present you with this small token.
I just wanted to say thank you to John, number one. Thank you to the board for believing in me. And thank you to all of you. We couldn't have made this project a reality without all of you. So thank you.
All right, that closes the program today. The building is open. Unless you're wearing the mayor's dancing shoes, wipe your feet because it's someone's new home. And let's go.